ABC57 investigates Over the Line. The right to observe and record police is at the center of a new federal lawsuit stemming from changes to an existing Indiana law, now setting a 25-foot boundary between the police and the public. ABC57 investigative reporter Kevin Wormholt sat down with the South Bend police chief and a man who says the new law nearly put him in jail.
ACLU calls the changes to the law a violation of First Amendment rights. Others say it protects both first responders and the public. We investigated the changes and heard arguments from both sides, but the final decision will be made in a federal courtroom.
Push back farther. You. No, you'll go to jail. Well, push back 25 feet. I'm telling you, this is my scene. This is my scene. New law and order. Go back 25 feet.
That video, shot and streamed online by a self-proclaimed citizen journalist, Don Nicodemus. Nicodemus operates the YouTube channel called Freedom to Film and responds to emergency scenes with his cell phone recording. This past July, he responded to a shots fired call at Lincoln Way West and North Brookfield Street. Nicodemus tells ABC57 News, while he was at that crime scene, police threatened to arrest him for violating Indiana law that requires him to stay 25 feet away from police.
There was a disturbance next to the scanner building on the west side, and I wanted to see what was taking place. As I started to cross Brookfield Street, I was told by an officer that I had to stop. I couldn't go no further.
Now, I want to give you a layout of this scene. Right here we have Lincoln Way West and North Brookfield Street. And when Nicodemus arrived, police were already setting up shell casings marked. He panned his camera to across Lincoln Way West, where you can see police taking pictures in front of a house. Nicodemus tells me that he was standing across North Brookfield Street on the north side of Lincoln Way West when an argument broke out between bystanders and the police. Nicodemus tried to get closer.
I'll take your qualified.
Then tape it up!
Tape it up! Get your tape out, quit with the camera. It's obvious you guys don't know how to get your tape measure out. It's obviously you don't know how to secure a scene because there's cars and driving through.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
22, 23, 24, 25.
Don't pass here. Stay back.
After we were moved back 25 feet, another officer approached. Then he said, he's the crime scene tech, that you're going to be moved back another 25 feet.
This incident sparked a lawsuit filed in August challenging the law's constitutionality. Ken Cotter is the legal director of the ACLU of Indiana and represents Nicodemus.
This law allows police to push people back 25 feet with no standards whatsoever.
Falk indicated the law violates the First Amendment and used the George Floyd incident before the judge to make his argument.
As we indicated in court, what would have happened if at the time of George Floyd's death there was a Minnesota law that allowed people to be pushed back 25 feet and maybe another 25 feet, maybe another 25 feet. We never would have seen or heard what happened.
Just to clarify, this is not actually a new law. Indiana House Bill 1186 went into effect in July, making changes to the existing Indiana Code 35-441-2-14. The original law allowed bystanders to observe police within a visible barrier like cones or crime tape. Now, no barrier is necessary. It's up to an officer's discretion to ask someone to step back from an active scene. Here's what the new amendment says. A person who knowingly or intentionally approaches within 25 feet of a law enforcement officer lawfully engaged in the execution of the law enforcement officer's duties after the law enforcement officer has ordered the person to stop approaching commits unlawful encroachment on an investigation. One of the sponsors of the bill is Republican State Senator Linda Rogers.
This bill is really important for all public safety officers as well as the community at large.
Why 25 feet?
I think that it still gives people the opportunity for free speech to be able to film, yet not be within that, right close proximity.
I'm standing outside the ABC57 studios, and we're going to see if 25 feet has any impact on video and audio recording. Now, Eileen Bond, our investigative photographer, is recording me on her cell phone with no special equipment. We've marked off on the ground 25 250 feet.
Now, this is how I sound 25 feet away on the cell phone. Now I'm going to ask her to back up 25 more feet. Now, this is how I sound from 50 feet away next to the pool road in the parking lot. And you still hear me.
I talked with St. Joseph County Prosecutor Ken Cotter about the changes to the existing law. I asked him about the wording of the new section.
Knowingly or intentionally approaches.
Right.
What does that mean?
It means is you can't accidentally do it. And the officer says, hey, back up 25 feet because that's what the law says. And they backed up 20 feet, but they thought it was 25. They didn't knowingly violate that.
The ACLU is saying that this new part of this law is a violation of the First Amendment. Why isn't it?
Well, I get the concern. They may not know that their officer is actually lawfully engaging in their duties. But 25 feet is certainly close enough that you're going to be able to record if you want to, or observe if you want to, so that if the officer is doing something they shouldn't be doing, they can be held accountable for it.
At the center of the federal lawsuit, South Bend Police, Chief Ruszkowski says he understands firsthand the challenges his officers face.
Every situation that we're involved in, that we respond to, is dynamic. We don't know until we know.
Chief Ruszkowski says that there are enough measures in place within the department to ensure public transparency, and that 25 feet isn't an unreasonable distance.
So we have geofence location. We have a specific cordoned area that the body cameras will activate once they get close to a certain call. There's like 5 or 6 different mechanisms in place where they're able to turn those body cameras on.
But as Nicodemus points out, the law leaves too much room for the police to abuse their authority. That's because body camera video takes time to make public. It's up to the police, prosecutor, and even the public to ask for certain videos released. What do you think should happen moving forward?
There's already laws in place for interfering with police. So this is just an overreach in my eyes.
Back in October, I went to federal court and listened to arguments made both by the ACLU and the city of South Bend. The judge presiding over the case indicated that he would take as much time as needed to make the decision. Reporting in studio, Kevin Wormhold, ABC57 News.